Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I had a little bit of a technical issue, but we're going to go ahead and make Richard a presenter. And who else is coming in with us? Sarah's joining us, and Selena.
Yes, and Selena's going to look after slides for me, I think.
Okay.
And we have all the participants ready to go, the students?
Everybody's here, yeah. I'll just do a quick introduction for you in a second here. And Sarah has joined us. Sarah Victor, yes?
Hi, yes. Hi, everybody.
So everybody a little bit of a prep, but not a whole lot of information. So we're really looking forward to your insights and sharing how we're going to manage this first project. So again, without further ado, everyone, this is Richard Cunningham from the Markham Board of Trade. He has with him two team members. And they are Sarah Victor and Selena Martins. So welcome, and I will leave it with you guys.
Okay.
So are you good? Everybody's okay with...
I think, Selena, you ready to go?
Are you okay with sharing your screen? Everything okay there?
Yeah, I just need to set it up. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay. While you're doing that, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us, and thanks for participating in this project. Just to give you some introduction, Sarah is our events manager, and Selena is our events coordinator, and also handles all of our social media and website management. So they're joining us today because this event is so important to us that really, along with the two of them, everyone in our office gets involved in this project. And just to give you a bit of a background on this, my previous position, in that picture you're seeing, some of those, it's an older picture, some of those employees are with us, some are not. The guy in the middle is the mayor of Markham. I'm sitting to his right, and that was at one of our previous, actually at a mayor's lunch that we took that picture. So prior to joining the Markham Board of Trade, I was the president of the Canadian Franchise Association, and you would know our members there. They were Hilton, McDonald's, Tim Hortons, car rental companies, you name it, they were all members. And we started an event called the Frankie Awards many years ago. This actually goes back almost 20 years. And I went to Humber because Humber had such a great reputation in their graphic design department, and they added this project as one to do the graphic design for the themes that we come up with for the event. When I left the CFA and joined the Markham Board of Trade, we brought this project along and we started to add themes to our awards event in Markham. And the reason we did this was that for those of you who have maybe attended an awards event, and this one has between 300 and 400 people, typically, well, it did before COVID, we had the theme because a lot of the people hadn't met each other before, and we wanted to create an environment where not only people were going up and being recognized for the wonderful things that they do, and I'll talk about that a little later, but we also wanted people to interact, have fun, and remember this event as a fun, wonderful evening that celebrated all of the great things that happen in business in Markham and people who have achieved some great things, but also to walk away and say they met some new friends and that they had a good time, and it was well worth the $200+ that they pay to attend this event. So, and that brings people back, of course, to other events. And I've actually had our sponsors, who I'll mention a little later, come to us and say, we get invited to so many events, and this is one we never miss. We love it so much. So I'll just get into a little bit about the Board of Trade and who we are, so you have a flavor for the organization. So you may have heard of chambers of commerce or boards of trade, and they're exactly the same. There's actually no one who knows any reason why some are called boards of trade and some are called chambers of commerce. There is a theory that boards of trade were created way back in the UK, and chambers of commerce was a translation from a French name that ended up being called chambers of commerce. But as I said, they're exactly the same. There is a chamber or a board in virtually every community in the country, and for that matter, in most countries in the world. We are connected to an Ontario Chamber of Commerce. We are connected through to the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, and there is actually an International Chamber of Commerce. We are actually the only trade association where we have members, as I said, in virtually every community across the country. So for that reason, we represent so many businesses, and in Canada, we're talking in numbers in excess of 60,000. We have a very strong voice with government, and we have the ability to offer our members some unique benefits. So on this screen, you'll see we offer them networking events. So that this is one of them, for example, the awards. But we have monthly events that they can come to and talk about their business and meet with other people in the community and be able to tell people about what their business is all about, get tips from other members. And as much as social media plays a role in business, there's still that face-to-face connectivity that happens that's very important for people in order to talk to other business owners. We have cost savings programs with the Canadian Automotive Association. We have an Esso gas plan that saves people money, UPS, Staples, and so on. We have a couple of publications that we own. One of them is called Entertainment Markham. It's an on-site website, which we created literally within weeks of COVID happening, and it allows companies to list their company, talk about what they're offering, whether they're open, closed, doing takeout, and what other kind of business services that they offer that might help people through these difficult times for a lot of businesses. We have about 500 companies listed on that website. We do a lot of advocacy, which I mentioned earlier, and because of our connection with the Ontario and the Canadian chambers, we get very involved in things like this federal election, where we would bring, normally face-to-face, bring candidates together to be able to talk to the community and tell them their platforms and explain their position and their party's position. We lobby governments. Actually, prior to this election, I was approached by one of the ministers and asked what they should include in their budget coming up. And one of the ideas that I gave them was the green plan, where if you do improvements to your home, you can get money back for upgrading your insulation or your windows or your doors. That was an idea that I had given to our local MP, and it got included in the budget. So it's grassroots information coming from these chambers and boards that go up through the ranks of the community, and it's our job to make it a better community, both for the people living there and for the people who are doing business there. Publications, we own two. We own a buyer's guide, which is distributed to 18,000 consumers, listing the different businesses that are members of the board. And we own a business magazine called The Voice. Both of these are online, and you're welcome to go and look at them. MarkhamVoice.com is, we just put that publication out, and it's distributed to every business in Markham. And we put stories in there about what's going on in Markham and about the community and about the business community and things that are happening. I'll get into that a little later. As a chamber or board, we have the ability through a federal regulation to certify export development documents. So if you are a business that happens to export equipment, or in these days, medical supplies that are going out to mostly the Middle East, those are countries that usually require our kind of documents. Sarah and I are certified as commissioners to be able to sign those and verify that the information is correct, so that people can do their shipping to countries. And you would be surprised how many countries in the world do business with Canada. You hear about us importing things, but we actually export a great deal of material outside of the country. We used to run room rentals in our space. We're located in the IBM head office, which is that enormous white building on Steeles. You may have driven past it. We're on the main floor of that building in what's called the IBM Innovation Space, and I'll talk about that in just a second. We have two very great programs that we run in addition to all the things I just mentioned. One is our young professionals, so that's for entrepreneurs and people who don't necessarily own a business but work in a business or are creating a business and are under 40. So we have those people, and they're very involved in the innovation space that I mentioned. And we have a women's networking group as well, and they meet twice a year, very successful. We bring in a panel of ladies who have either started businesses or are running very successful businesses, and they talk about their lives in running those businesses and how that mixes in and how they balance that with their own personal lives. So a real mix of things that we do, and as I'm probably guessing, and I usually do this when I make these presentations in person, I ask, okay, how many people know about a board of trade or a chamber of commerce? Put your hand up, and no hands go up. If you are living in, well, you are living in some community, and I would be willing to bet your community probably has a board or a chamber. Most of them have a young professionals group. Most of them also have a women's networking group. You might want to look at connecting with them, because as you progress in your career, either on your own in your own business or even working for someone else, it's always good to network with other business people and other businesses to expand on your opportunities. And you can best do that through a board or a chamber. If you flip over to the next slide, you'll see that it talks again about our programs, which I've touched on a little bit already. We have 70 of them. I talked about the advocacy and the work that we do with the different levels of government and the networking. So those are all very important elements, and all of them come into play, except for the savings, with our events, and this event, which in particular is one of our most important ones. So the Business Excellence Awards. I don't know what our screens are not. Selena, is the screens frozen? I'm going to continue.
I think she's having some technical difficulties, Richard.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
I'm not having any issue here. Selena was actually having some bandwidth issues, so she's dropped off.
Okay, that's okay. Well, I'll carry on.
So hopefully, if you send me the slide deck, I can actually post it up through here. It looked like it was her.
Sarah, can you send it to her?
Yep, just give me a minute or two and I'll send it over.
Okay. While they're doing that, I'll carry on because I'm cognizant of the time here for the students. I had mentioned the innovation space, so we're a very unique situation. We are actually the only board of trade in Canada that is located in an innovation space, and it's really quite an exciting place. We have right now about 60 companies, entrepreneurs that are in the position of either incubating a business or creating a business, or they've started a business and they're growing the business. Most of them are in the tech sector. Markham in general, as a community, first of all, Markham is the largest tech hub in Canada, and a lot of other communities like to take claim for that. But we have 1,100 tech companies in Markham that call it home. Just to give you a couple of names and a feel for that, GM has its engineering division located in Markham, and they're working on the autonomous vehicles. We have another company working with GM in Markham in the tech sector who is developing the new entertainment and navigation system that will be in GM vehicles in the next few years. We have IBM's head office, as I mentioned, Lenovo, Dell, Hewlett-Packard. The list goes on and on. As I said, there's 1,100. Add to that, We have Honda and Huawei, and we have a Bell connection in the gathering, in the mix as well. And they use this innovation space. Oh, and AMD is a very important one, because you know AMD because they're the chip, actually one of the largest chip developers in the world, and they're the ones who created the PlayStation 5. They're now working on a computer chip, and they're doing that out of our innovation space because we have a lab there, which is called a Silicon Lab. It's the only one north of Silicon Valley where they can actually design chips. And it was funded by the federal government, and it opened up, unfortunately, 1 month before COVID hit. But it's in operation. It's a really exciting space. And as I said, all these companies and these individuals are housed in this space along with us, giving them the opportunity to learn from each other and to talk about their businesses. And you'd be surprised, when we were able to meet in person at the coffee station, the stories were really quite amazing about what these different people were working on, and how a challenge for one company, talking about this in an environment like an innovation space, someone else has a solution for a problem that another company might have. It's really quite remarkable. So this is where the awards come into play. The Business Awards has been going on. Last year actually was our 31st awards. We have several categories. We do the Global Excellence, Employer of Excellence, Women-Led Businesses. So there's a lot of different categories, and the process is kind of grueling because we get the nominations, and then our volunteer group go out, well, in the last couple of years, through Zoom calls and interview the companies and decide who are the 2 finalists. And then, I don't like to use the word winner, but who is the recipient of the award, because they're really all winners when they get to this point. They're actually, so we're just past that slide, Selena. Thank you for coming back. That's the one. So as you see there, I mentioned earlier, 300 to 400 attendees, 9 categories. And it's really one of the biggest events of the year for the business community, because it is the only event where this kind of recognition is offered to companies. It's a tough decision too, because we have so many amazing businesses in Markham. Trying to decide who these 3 finalists are, 2 finalists and the recipient, is really a tough one for the committee. Now, as I mentioned earlier, each year that we do this, we have a new theme. And we do the theme. The theme is really important for all the reasons I mentioned earlier, but it also gives us the opportunity to create an environment where when people come to this dinner, and it is a dinner and a reception and a networking opportunity, or at least it was until COVID. And just to explain that, last year we did it completely on a virtual platform. We actually developed a TV show and ran it as a TV show with an Hawaiian theme. This year we're going to go hybrid, so it will be live, but with a limited attendance, and it'll also be broadcast on a closed network to a virtual audience as well. So that adds a little bit more difficulty to us, and that's, of course, changes by the day depending on government regulations. That's the format that we're looking at doing this year. So just to give you a flavor for how this theme plays out and how important it is to us, we'll go to the next slide. We're going to show you.
I'm just going to interject for a second. You have the controls now. I've set this up. So if you look at the bottom of your screen, you should see an arrow. Can you see the arrow? And
I got it.
You can control this on your own now. Yep.
Okay. Great. Okay. So I'm going to give you a flavor for how we play out the theme, because it's really quite important. This is not just getting a graphic and putting it on a brochure, or putting it on social platforms or our usual vehicles to market an event. This thing is 3-dimensional, and we spend literally months and thousands of dollars playing out the theme. So what you're seeing in this slide was the last time we actually were live, and there was a Mardi Gras theme. The lady that you see in the bottom right-hand corner is standing beside the poster that's on what we call the Walk of Fame, which they walk down this red carpet to the entrance of the reception area, and we have each of the categories, in this case women-led business, and we have the 3 finalists there. As they walk down that carpet, they have no idea who the winner is. In this case, it was SE Health, and that lady standing there is the president of SE Health. It's a remarkable story. She has 9,000 employees all over the country. They do a lot of work in the healthcare area, helping people who are at home recovering from surgery, elderly people, disabled. They do a lot of work in that area. She hires mostly people in the nursing background. But as you can see from the slide, the other 2 finalists, one of them was Russell Aquatic Swim School, very small operation, and they actually teach children how to swim. But they were a finalist competing against a category as a company as large as SE Health. And then Royal LePage was another one of the finalists. So the cross-section of companies that are selected is really quite diverse. But you'll see, and this is just an idea of, you'll see in that poster, for example, we took some of the elements of the design, and if you look on the screen, you'll see there's the mask and the feathers, and the feathers are also on the poster that you'll see standing with the winner of this category, and the balloons also reflect the colors that were in the final artwork on the poster. Here's some more elements that we used from that we played out. So again, the big mask on the stage, the decor on the centerpiece on the table with the martini glass and a mask and beads. You'll see we hired a tarot card reader, and she was in that tent that's in beside on the top right-hand corner. Again, we carried the theme through there. And on the stage, top left-hand side, you'll see we had silhouettes of saxophone players and of course our dancer on stilts, all again playing out on the theme. And I can tell you that that year we had a jazz band as well that played it, that we hired from the University of Toronto, and they played jazz music. And but just to give you a flavor for how far we go, we did a James Bond theme a few years prior to this, and we took an old James Bond movie where he was fighting in a plane with a bad guy. They fell out the door of the plane, and his parachute opened, and at that point we clipped to a drone drone movie which we produced with an actor looking as though he landed on the roof of the hotel where this event takes place. He opens up he folds up his parachute, excuse me, opens up a hatch on the roof of the hotel and throws a rope down. And at that very moment, the rope comes down onto the stage, and he slides down onto the stage as James Bond and starts as the MC to host the event. So we've had sleighs with snow, we've had vintage cars, we've had Maseratis and sports cars because of James Bond and other themes that we've done. We'll go to no ends to make the event exciting, and we're always raising the bar. And I'll talk to you about that in a minute, because sometimes we create our own nightmares. We're always looking to bring a new level of visual excitement, and whatever you create in your graphic and the one that we choose, we will roll that out into all these other elements that I've mentioned. And when you're thinking about your graphic design, beyond just, as I mentioned, the graphics that we will use to promote the event, think about what we could do, like the elements that you saw on those slides, that we could do in staging the event and in making the event more dimensional and rolling that theme out, which I'm going to give you at the end, to make it that much more an exciting event for the people who are attending. a little bit about the community in Markham before we get into some more about the graphics. Our target audience is really any business in Markham, and there are 10,000 of them. The community is very diverse. In fact, the mayor likes to say, and he's probably right, that we are the most diverse community in Canada. We are certainly the high-tech community of Canada. We have our high-tech is in the pharma, biopharmaceutical, chips, automotive. It really crosses a lot of sectors because tech really is in everything these days. We have a large community of players who get involved in this event, from very small companies, as I mentioned, to large companies like Honda and IBM. So it's a really diverse target audience that we're after to pay attention, get their attention, and get them to attend the event. So as this slide says, this is really a celebration of entrepreneurial spirit, success, and ingenuity. There are the 9 categories that I mentioned. We get a lot of nominations, and it's a tough decision about how we decide who's going to get the final award. Here are the items that are important about as you look about the creative. First of all, this first piece of work that you're going to be working on, I'm going to show you an example of some coming up in some slides of past awards and past creative that we've selected. At the point that we're promoting this, first of all, this event doesn't happen until January. We right now need people to get their attention, put the date in their calendar, and know that it's our event, and start to get excited about the event. So in the deliverables right now, we need to appeal to this broad audience. We need to make sense with the Markham community that it's coming up. Put the date in your calendar. It's unique, it's fun, it's upbeat, and we need the message to be simple and straightforward, because right now, if I told you, oh, by the way, we've got an event coming up in January of 2022, you're probably going to put in the back of your mind, oh, it's a long way off, and put it out of your mind. A lot of these companies, especially the large ones, they block out their calendars months and months in advance. And they get requests, especially our sponsors, to participate in a lot of events. I'll give you one example. Bell Canada, for example, our sponsor who provides us with that sponsorship, she attends, or did prior to COVID, over 250 events a year. So you can imagine what it's like trying to get her attention and get this event onto her calendar. So here's some examples of things that we've done and how we need to grab their attention and their call to action to put the calendar date into their calendar. Because they do look at this event as a fun one every year and look forward to it, and they do want to get it into their calendar and don't want to miss the event. So on the left, you'll see we had the pirate theme one year. The one on the right was a Vegas theme. I think it was Vegas. Yeah, it was Vegas. And at this point, as it mentions in the slide, a couple of things. First of all, the date's important and the location is important. And even more important than that is that it's the Board of Trade's annual business awards. We used to use the word gala, but the idea of gala we don't use anymore because it's not a black tie event. It's not necessarily casual. It's business, I'll say business attire. And the only thing that I found in these slides that we don't need really anymore, and we're in these slides, is the price and the timing. So you'll see on the slide on the right, it says that cocktails started at 6. This far out from the event, we don't need to tell people what time cocktails start because they'll forget for sure. At this point, we just need them to realize it's our event, it's the business awards, it's January and the date that we will provide for you, and the location, which is the Hilton Suites. It's the same location that's on these slides. Beyond that, and of course, the theme. And we want them to get excited about that theme right now. And they'll say, oh, what are they going to do this time? Because I get asked as they're walking out of the event each year, what are you going to do next year? And we literally start right after each event thinking about the following year. Here's two more examples of what we did. The one on the left was sort of the Roaring Twenties, and we brought that car into the ballroom of the hotel. The one on the right, Arabian Nights. There's an old movie called The Love Guru with the guy who was Austin Powers. He was the star of that movie. We found the set and all of the scenery that was used. It was in a prop house in Toronto that was used in that movie, The Love Guru, and we set the whole stage up to replicate that set. We did it all up as a big tent. We had people dancing. We had great Arabian music. We used clips of old Arabian movies in the introduction of each of the awards. So there's lots of things that we'll do, and we incorporate these elements that you saw, and these were designs that came from the students at Humber. Mardi Gras is the one that I just mentioned that we did a couple of years ago. That was our last one that was live, and then a virtual escape to Hawaii was the one that we did last year as a TV show. You'll see in the bottom our list of sponsors, and those are really important to us. And in your design, it's really important to leave that white space across the bottom for us to include those sponsors. They virtually don't change from year to year. So last, and I'm watching the time here, this is the James Bond theme that we did a few years ago. Here's how your design is going to be used. Off the bat, we want, I'll say, an event poster, but we don't really have many in-person events coming up over the next few months. So we need the design in a usable portion that we can put on social media, on our website. We can send out as a virtual invitation. And all the elements actually on this were exactly what I mentioned earlier. The date, the location, the theme is really quite evident, and that it's the Markham Board of Trade's Business Excellence Awards. We use the word gala here only because James Bond kind of brings up that idea of wearing a tuxedo and being a little bit more formal. But in essence, we don't do that. I mean, actually, probably the largest tuxedo company in Canada is now gone. That's how, tuxedos have kind of gone by the wayside. So the program cover, which you see in this slide, the dimensions are there. We use that. We'll hand those programs out the night of the event. But again, the date isn't that important on the program cover, even though we left it in this design, because you're there. You're holding the program in your hand and you're at the location. The ticket, we give them the ticket the night of the event as they get there, and the only reason we really give them the ticket is because on the reverse side of that ticket is the floor plan and shows them where their seat is. Otherwise, the ticket, we don't hand it to them prior to the event, but the dimensions for the ticket are there as well. Here's some sort of things to avoid. In this theme that we have this year that I'm going to tell you about, these are all going to be really easy things to avoid. First of all, we can't get into any kind of religious affiliations or any kind of symbolic issue that might be tied to any religion. We stay away from anything that might be considered violent or offensive to anybody, which these days is really quite sensitive and creates a wide range of things. And I'll give you an example. In the case of James Bond, we're very sensitive about the fact that his whole theme is around the Bond girls and guns. So we really played down the whole gun idea as much as we possibly could and stuck with the theme. Obviously, we don't want to do anything that will offend or deter people from coming to the event for whatever reason, but from what we've seen in the designs, the students have been remarkably good at avoiding those kinds of things. This is the details of the event that I mentioned. So it's January 22nd. It's at the Hilton Suites, Toronto Markham. That's actually the name, the way they like it to be put. I mentioned about the white box at the bottom to include our sponsors' logos. And here's one thing which any client that you deal with, probably today, tomorrow, or anytime in the future, don't mess around with my logo. The logos become very important to us. It's part of our branding. So it's important that the logo is in a predominant place in your design and that you don't change the typeface or the layout. However, if you need to change, and I get asked this all the time, if you want to do it in a drop type in black and white, you're welcome to do that. But in doing it, do not change the format or the typeface of the logo at all. So the last is to tell you what the theme is this year. So our theme is a taste of Italy. But having said that, and we struggled with all kinds of elements because in conjuring up the idea of Italy, what comes to mind? And if I asked all of you what your idea was, you probably each have a different one. So there's Tuscany, there's Rome, Venice, wine, food, all kinds of things come to mind. We've said a taste of Italy here, but we are not wed to that. If you want to play around with those words or use different words, we're totally open to that. It's interesting what the students come up with, because I can tell you when we did our carnival theme a few years ago, here's a couple of things I should have mentioned, I forgot. One of them was, during that time, I said, no animals, and be careful what you put on the poster because it presents a concept in the mind of the reader of your poster and looking at your graphics, and be sure you're not setting me up for something I can't deliver. So for example, in one of the posters that was done, they had acrobats hanging from ropes in the ceilings, and I thought, uh-oh, if we use that one, or people think I'm going to have Cirque du Soleil acts in the event, which I really couldn't possibly either afford or do based on the restrictions of a hotel. So in your design, be careful of what you're including in that design beyond the design elements, that you're not setting us up, especially Sarah, who's on this call, for something that we just can't deliver or will be impossible for us to deliver. But any elements around a visit of Italy, I hate to even put any kind of words out there because I don't want to restrict you. But Carnival, for example, which I started to talk about, we thought about circus and games that you play and those sorts of things. Some of the students actually came back with ideas that were very old, like the 20s and 30s of carnivals and circuses that we absolutely never thought of. And we actually went with a very old-fashioned theme because, not because we like the old-fashioned so much, but the whole concept and the design element had a really nice feel to it, so we went with it. Here's the thing you need to think about as you do this. If your design gets you excited and you want to attend this event, then that probably will work for the people who are looking at it, who we're going to present it to. I probably should stop there because I've gone over time, and I know that you're probably going to have some questions. 3 points then. The main graphic, which I think Selena I'll let Selena explain this more detail to you, but as you noticed in the slides I showed you, we used different elements of your design to roll out into other things that we do, like the posters, to the certificates we give people. So as you're putting your design together, well, Selena, Are you online now, Selena? No.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Can you explain to the students what it is that is important?
Here, I'll go back to these slides. See, for example, our last one was Mardi Gras. So you can see the feathers that are in that program that we then use, as you can see on the slides, on the poster. So if you can put the design to use into a separate folder, just so we can then manipulate it and use it in all our different programmings, that would be great. The easier, the better. That's it, nothing too complicated.
Okay. I mean, as you see from this, really, these slides that for that particular year really don't give full a range of the. We did one, for example, called Hollywood. We actually set up 3 movie sets, complete movie sets. One with the Star Wars theme, that you could have your picture taken with the stormtroopers and Darth Vader, and you were actually set up inside a galactic spaceship. We did another movie set which was Jurassic Park with dinosaurs and smoke and rocks and sound effects, and another one of Austin Powers. So we'll go to any extent to roll out your theme and to give dimension to what you create. And if, as I said earlier, I think I did, if you have any ideas about what we could do in the room or during the reception or as a handout or props, we'll include those with your design. We'll consider anything within reason. I think I'll stop there, Judy, and give the students the opportunity to ask any questions they might have.
Thank you, Richard. That was great. Such a wonderful breadth of detail in that brief. I know that you've got a lot of imagination, a lot of students kind of playing through various scenarios here. So yeah, definitely, let's open it up. If you want to raise your hand and turn on your mic and ask any questions that you might have pertaining to this project, get some concepts, some ideas flowing. So I had a couple kind of points that I was kind of talking to as you were going. So you don't necessarily need, the graphics and the overall design is what's going to make the theme explicit. However, you are talking, when you talk about here Arabian Nights, it is talking to the actual theme itself. So it really depends if your visuals can carry that theme, the message that you're trying to convey. Because this is your teaser ad, right? So this is your teaser poster that's really creating the intense excitement, like as Richard mentioned, that you're bringing that so that people will put this into their calendar. This is the save the date, if you will. So they're definitely focusing there. So the invitation, you said they don't actually get that until the end?
The ticket, we give them the ticket the night of the event when they arrive, and it's really just to give them the floor plan on the back of it. What they will get and what they will see in our platform for people to register when they come on, well, first of all, we'll be sending out a virtual version of this poster that you see here to encourage people to register. Uh-huh. Then on our website, we'll have a page, again, using this same format, so that when people go to our markhamboard.com website, they'll see this. When they get a confirmation from us, or they go to actually the registration page, and Selena and Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, they'll see a version of this as well, all leading up to them finally getting an email which confirms that they've registered for the event. As you can imagine, this call to action, which is really months ahead of the event, is extremely important to us and has to get their attention. It's the date and the call to action to register. And you can see in the Arabian Nights, the person put register now, join us under the Sultan's tent. Those are great calls to action because it really encourages people to register.
Yeah, fabulous. Okay, do you want to tell us a little bit about the process? So we're going to have an internal process as we go through the prep stage, but can you give us a little bit about the back end about
Sure.
that process?
So normally what would happen is that the students would do this, would produce the poster, and then I would come to the class and we would, that you would present your concept to us individually. Last year, and because of COVID, what happened is we were sent, I believe, 12 or 14 designs that were chosen by the teachers. And then what we do, I mentioned the Convergence Center, we hung up the 12 designs in that center, and we allowed the entrepreneurs and the people coming through the facility to vote on the 12 designs, and we came down to a finalist that we actually used. Now, two things I didn't mention. First of all, whoever's design we use, and first of all, this is the most difficult process that we go through every year because the designs are always amazing. And I can tell you that I have absolutely been blown away by how talented you as students and the direction that you get from your teachers are and what comes out of these designs. We just have an awful time trying to figure out which one is the one that we're actually going to go with. And I'm sure this year won't be any different than what we've experienced in the past. So that we will pick the final one. Whoever's design we select, we will give you $500 for your design, and we will also give you 2 tickets to the event, and we're also providing tickets to the college for the professors to attend as well. And at the event, I will announce in front of the group and in this case virtually, who the person was and their design, and thank them and thank Humber for doing that. So this also then goes, you'll be able to go to our website, by the way, and see the video from last year. Because it was a virtual event, that video has been loaded up there and you can go and watch the entire event. It's been recorded. So we recognize the person who does this in front of the entire business community of Markham. Great.
Yes, that's a really great option, and we have put this out for this to be a team project and or an individual. So with that said, we'll be able to work this internally and make sure that you ultimately get the 12 pieces that you want to post for voting. So wonderful. Okay, so let's put this back out to the students. Any questions? Are you pretty comfortable with all the information, or is it going to take a little bit of time to digest all of this content? Anything that you want to ask directly to our clients? Delaney, is there an SG of, yes, absolutely. So great question. We're looking for the logo. So the Markham Board of Trade logo. Can we get a vector of that, please?
Yeah, not a problem.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, Harrison, go ahead.
So just to clarify, the theme is a taste of Italy, but we're free to sort of explore what that may mean to us, as it may mean a different thing to everybody.
Yes, I mean, we said a taste of Italy in this case, but Italy is really the only word in that phrase that we want to stick with. So if you wanted to say, I don't want to put ideas out there, but a tour of Italy, or there's some other variation on that, however you want to approach the word, the country, Italy, is up to you.
Perfect. Thank you for the clarification.
Great question, Grace. We have another question here. Will we still include the hotel as location despite the event taking place remotely? if I'm not mistaken, it is a split this year, correct? You will have half that will be live and half that will be remote?
You know, that's a very good question, and one that I bet, well, I know Sarah and Selena are cringing at this point, as am I, because the thing we've struggled with is, as you can imagine, and everyone is struggling with, is we tried to figure out, should we go virtual again? Should we go just in person, or a hybrid, which is both? And in fact, I'm glad you brought this up, because we never really talked about it as far as the graphics and the marketing of this, in what we would say to the public. So Sarah, what are your, I hate to put you on the spot, but what are your thoughts on this?
I think it's okay because, as you said, we tend to manipulate the designs when we go through the different stages. So we add more information along the way, like pricing. So if we need to change the location or put out that it's virtual or a combination of that, I think we'll be able to do that on our end. But for your submission, I guess just keep it as the Hilton Suites Toronto Markham for now, and we can change as we need to.
Excellent. Thank you for clarifying.
You know, it brings up a very good point, because as you can imagine, a lot of businesses are really struggling with this whole idea. And there's a lot of money at risk and commitment when you decide you're going to go live, because you can't, once you made that commitment, you really can't back out without a huge loss. There are people who want to attend events in person and are anxious to attend and get back to some sort of normalcy. And there are other people who are still concerned and wouldn't come to an event where there are a lot of people. So we're on the fence with this. And in fact, this might be an interesting exercise if we just put the Hilton location, don't mention the fact that there's a virtual option, and see what kind of registration we get over the next couple of months. Any other questions?
Perfect. All right, we've got some silent people really processing lots of content.
The minds are going around the word Italy, and they're trying.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you know, how do they take this, and in what direction? So you're absolutely right. There's a lot going on here, but you've given us great specs. It is a very exciting project, Michael. Yeah. Do we have to include the price? Good question. I think he did mention that no pricing or timing. Thank
you, Mikey. Someone yesterday when I presented to the class said thank you in Italian as well. Creative. In the case of pricing, I would say no. All that's important, and for two reasons. First of all, our plan is that if we go with the virtual option, we will not be charging those people anywhere near what we'll charge them to attend this event in person. So we don't want to it'll get very complicated if we're putting on a poster in person, $210, virtual, $30. So what's important right now is the call to action to register, the date, and the location, and of course the theme, and it's the Board of Trade event. Beyond that, I don't think we really need anything unless you feel there's a caption word or phrase like join us under the Sultan's tent that you would like to include.
Excellent. All right, well, with that said, look at your timing, brilliant.
Yeah, we landed, wow, we did do well. Any other questions? And Judy, if the students have other questions as they're working through the project, please send along. You're welcome to send emails to any one of the three of us, and we'll respond as quickly as possible.
Brilliant. Yeah, I will kind of filter that for you or channel that for you, so you're not getting inundated with student content. But definitely, we will forward if there's any questions. That's great. Is there any issues? Now we've got sponsorship logos. Are we going to place those on the poster, or are we just allotting a space for the actual sponsors?
Yeah, if you can just leave a space and we can add it in, just enough that two logos can stack on top of each other, that would be
All right.
great.
Do you have contractually any sort of size? So have you given them, it looks like we've got like 3 or 4 or 3 inches at the bottom, 2.5 inches?
Yeah, which is 2.5.
2.5 inches, okay. I will set that up, perfect. Excellent, I think we are good to go. And thank you again very much. We are very excited about this opportunity to present you with some creative content for your event. And yes, you've definitely got lots of really great content that we can see that we've worked from here, and we'll work with the students and come up with some really wonderful stuff for you. So yeah, so if we could get the vector logo from you, if you can just email that over, I will make sure that we have a folder for all the assets that's required. And if you're good, I will share this slide deck as well with not only myself, but I also saw with Sarah and Janice as well. We're asking for it so that you guys can use it as a reference.
That's great.
Yeah, perfect.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks to everybody.
Thank you again. Have a great day.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Excellent. What a wonderful project this is going to be. So much fun. So much fun. Oh, it looks like my Wi-Fi is low. Let me know if I'm fading out on you here. Gotta love Bell. Makes me crazy. No, you know, Mikey, that all they've asked for is that we leave a blank 2.5 inch at the base. So, and they will drop their logos in. Yeah. Yeah, so pretty exciting. It's actually pretty exciting. And this is actually, not only is it an interesting, it's a really broad theme. It's a really broad theme, which really kind of implies, does it need to be cuisine? Can it be structural? Because when I think of Italy, right, you can think of architecture right away. That also lends itself. You can think of cuisine. You can think of art. You can think of right? Like there's just so much that you can take this down. So like he said, the only word that was really relevant in this theme is Italy. Yeah, whatever that is. So included in the 5x5 poster. So the poster itself is actually 20 by 30 inches is the poster size. There is a program cover that you're doing, and the program cover is the 5x5 by 8.5. And then the tickets, whether you do it either horizontally or vertically, that is the 2.5 by 4.5 size. So three components, yeah. And Emily, to clarify the mention, you need raw design files. What format should we provide in those? I was thinking about the conversion last week on sharing file conversation. Yeah. Oh, Emily, you know what? You're absolutely right. This is a conversation that I have going on right now with the faculty and about this project, but at the same time, this is a great opportunity for you, and if you're only sharing if you are the winner. So if you're winning and you're going to share the content, one of the reasons why they're doing that is because once we finish this project is put to bed in week 5, we move on. Now the winner, they don't want to have, you don't want the client keep coming back to you, can you make these revisions and whatever to this project, because you've now moved on to all of your other 8 courses and all those other projects that are coming down the pipe. So the last thing you want to do is have to worry about all the incidentals. If they want to use your graphic elements in their PowerPoints or whatever that happens to be, that's fine. And that's really what we are, really what we're looking at for this particular project. So I'm going to say, as much as my conversation about intentional, about the resource files, it's okay at this point, WhalePod. Okay.